Welcome back to my channel. I'm here with my awesome service dog, Luna. She's a multi-purpose service dog, but she does also cardiac and psychiatric tasks. I have POTS, also known as a form of dysautonomia. I have severe anxiety, depression, and skin picking disorder, and Luna's tasks help target those conditions so that I can live a more fulfilling life. Oof, I'm really just putting all my information out there. It's okay, I guess. I always regret it, but I want to put out the content that I would have needed in the beginning of my service dog journey. Speaking of service dogs, let's get to the point. Luna was not originally my service dog prospect. I got Luna in a very dark part of my life. My depression was at its worst, and I just really didn't want to live anymore. I was tired of trying treatment after treatment and never getting anywhere. I just kept getting worse. Then Luna came into my life. I was in Pennsylvania when she first arrived, so I didn't get to see her in the beginning. She had about 2 weeks with my family before I made it home. I was terrified those entire 2 weeks that when I got home she would hate me and she'd love my family more. It's stupid to be something scared about, but I really was. Of course, all that fear melted away as soon as I met her. She was this little black fuzzball of joy. She greeted me in her shy little way. As time went on, our bond grew more and more until it grew into the awesome bond we have today. I became her person. It was hard at first. I could barely take care of myself, and now I had this little helpless creature that needed love and caring and support, and I didn't even have enough for myself. She wasn't fully potty trained, so she would go to the bathroom right outside the door when I was going to the bathroom, so there was no way I could stop her from going to the bathroom in the house. It was very frustrating. I struggled a lot, but it ended up making my life so much better, and my mental health got better too. After a while anyways. She taught me how to take care of myself and how to live again. I had to take care of myself, I had to exercise, I had to be okay for her. And I was. Luna became my reason to live. She was everything that I needed at that moment in time. She was the light in my darkness, hence her name Luna. And Luna is why I respect emotional support animals so much, because Luna was my emotional support animal before she was my service dog. They make a huge difference in people's lives. I had Luna for a year before I seriously considered her being my service dog. My mom had repeatedly brought it up, but I never thought that I deserved a service dog. I thought I wasn't severe enough, and by having Luna as my service dog, I was taking away from people who have it worse than me. I know that people don't go through the same stuff I have to go through every day. I didn't quite realize how severe some of my conditions were. I thought that everyone had to go through that every day of their life, and I was very wrong about that. After I was diagnosed with dysautonomia, I started learning about how service dogs could help with my condition and with my other condition. I discovered Emily and her service dog Wesley, and their channel showed me the possibilities of what I could have. I started loosely training with Luna. The only people that knew about her and my intentions to make her my service dog were the people I lived with and my grandmother. I didn't tell anyone else because I was terrified that they would tell me I was making it all up for attention or that I didn't really need one. And I learned this from some other people in my life, some other family members in my life who used to gaslight me and say this stuff to me repeatedly throughout my childhood. It's actually the reason it took 4 years for me to get diagnosed, just because I was too afraid to tell anyone what was happening to me. Because every time I did, they would say I was making it up. But thankfully the people I lived with, my awesome family, listened to me. Anyway, I had to start telling people. So the first person I told was my best friend. Through a lot of crying, I told her, and I was so terrified of her response, but she was just really supportive. And she wanted me to do whatever I could to make me better and to make me able to go to college and be independent. Next, I told my therapist, and She took it really well. She was confused as to why I hadn't told her sooner, but she was still really supportive about it. And she was shocked because her other client had just told her that she was getting a service dog too, which was pretty cool. Lastly, I had to talk to my doctor, and my doctor was the scariest part because I wouldn't go through with what I was doing unless I had him to approve it, because I felt like in some way that would redeem my need for a service dog. About 2 weeks before my doctor's appointment, I had started body tremors throughout my whole body, and I was shaking constantly. I was terrified of the impending doom as I saw it. But when it came to the day of the appointment, I got there and I chickened out. I wasn't gonna tell him. I was too scared. And thankfully my mom told him, and she asked if he'd be willing to help us, and he said yes. He really wanted me to have anything that would help me. He didn't have a lot of knowledge on service dogs, but he knew that they could help and that it would help me to be able to live independently. The day after his approval, I had a complete breakdown. I still didn't feel like I was enough. I didn't think that I was severe enough to have a service dog, and I just felt like there were so many other people in the world that needed them more. It was really hard, and this way of thinking lasted months into the training. Thankfully, I don't have that anymore, but it was a really hard part of trying to get through training Luna and not giving up completely. After my breakdown was when I started seriously training with her. I spent hours watching YouTube videos and scouring the internet for some sort of information that would help me train her. And this went on for several months while also training the stuff I was learning to her. I threw myself into training. We trained every morning and nighttime with more training sessions in between. We would go on adventures, and I would put her in situations that were scary to her, and those situations are how we built up her confidence and showed her that the world wasn't as scary as she thought. Because Luna, she grew up during a lot of the pandemic, and I was unable to leave the house. She didn't get the socialization that she needed. We were both a mess, but training really helped us both. I could go out in public without a panic attack, something I hadn't been able to do in a really long time, because I focused on her instead of everything around me. Focusing on her just took out all of the other terrifying parts of being out in public. And when I kept my eyes on her, I didn't notice the people staring. I didn't notice the people freaking out and pointing at us. All I noticed was her, and all I cared about was making her happy. Her confidence grew as we took on more and more experiences and situations, and so did mine too. She helped me to function in public again. It was exhausting, frustrating, and difficult, but we survived it, and we got better because of it. We spent many months training. I learned so much from YouTube and from the articles online, but there were still some things I needed help with, so we started looking for trainers. The first trainer and the second trainer were both not good. They both required training tools, such as an e-collar and a prong collar. I did get a prong collar. We used it once, and then we never used it again because it just wasn't something that worked with Luna. And it's all about what works for your dog and how they thrive, and using a training tool was just not something that helped Luna thrive. I also didn't want to rely on a training tool. I wanted her to be able to do everything I asked without having some way to correct her or to keep her in check. We found our third and final trainer, who was purely positive. Luna thrived from this training. She loves praise and rewards and treats. It's just something that she loves so much, and it was perfect for her. And this is how we use this training to make her the awesome dog she is today. It's important to train a dog the way that it works best for them. I know plenty of dogs who thrive with prongs or e-collars, and that's great for them. But Luna just didn't thrive off of that. It's all about you and your dog's preferences. We continued to train, and Luna became the awesome, wonderful service dog she is today. She still has her problems, but she is perfect for me. I made a lot of mistakes along the way. Everyone is bound to make mistakes, and so are their service dogs too. If you're considering getting a service dog, I would recommend doing a lot of research ahead of time. You will want to plan how you will properly train your service dog, how you will provide for them, how you will love them. After you've researched and created a plan, then you can look for your prospect or trainer. You don't necessarily have to get a trainer, but they are very helpful to give you guidance along the way. I know it's out of the price range for some people. It's really all about what you can do and how much you can learn from the internet. I would also suggest speaking with a healthcare professional before you start any of this process, just so that you can make sure you will have documentation to support you in case you are in somewhere that's like non-pet friendly. It's helpful in these sort of situations to have a letter showing that you need a service dog. Also, please do not get a service dog registered online. I've seen a lot of registration websites, but they aren't real, they are illegal, and they don't work. So don't go wasting your money on that. It also just adds to all the confusion about service dogs and how the public views them. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I wish you all the best.